Daniel Jones versus Anthony Richardson. Here's Chris Ballard, GM of the Colts, on the competition that will unfold in the offseason program and beyond between Richardson and Jones.
Sometimes you got to be bad before you can be good at a play in this game. Sometimes you got to struggle before you can be good. All right? And we got two guys that have had some really strong flashes. And they've had some bad moments too, and that's okay. I think both of them will be better because of this, and I think the team will be better because of it. Competition brings out the best in everybody. And I think we'll see that. Whether, to sit here a day before we even start the offseason and have a vision of how, you don't want to begin with an end in mind. We're not going to do that. It's like the draft. You don't want to begin with an end in mind. You got to let things play out the way they should and compete, and who gives the team the best chance to win. If I'm a betting man, both of them, at some point, both of them will help us.
That's another way of saying it. He thinks at some point both of them are going to play. And when you look at Anthony Richardson's history, he's had multiple injuries that have opened the door for the backup to play. Or he kind of got soft benched or hard benched. Remember, he tapped out from that game last year. Like, quarterbacks don't tap out. What's going on? And that was a problem. I think that this is, and I doubt that anyone from the Colts is ever going to come out and say it, but I don't think they need to. This is the last best way to try to get Anthony Richardson to morph into what they need him to be. This is the extreme pressure that they can put on. Because I go all the way back to Chris Carter. The Eagles were at their wits' end with him, so they cut him because all he does is catch touchdowns, and he becomes a Hall of Famer somewhere else. Ideally, you want the guy to get his wake-up call with you, not somewhere else. You don't want you cutting him to be the catalyst for a Hall of Fame career. You want let's do one more thing before we let him go. It's almost like a team with a kicker who's got the yips, who used to be really good, bringing in competition. Let's see if this gets him. We got one more chance to get this guy to be what we need him to be, and then after that, we'll give up. I feel like that's what this is.
I agree, and I think for Colts fans, it also felt like another bad year. Like when you finish a year and you have a quarterback where, like, the rumors are he got benched because, like, guys see that he's not doing what he needs to do to be the starting quarterback. So I think in the offseason, you're just hoping that, like, you fix that situation. How exactly, I don't know, but something that gets your fan base excited. And I think Daniel Jones is a great dude. I think I would have guessed he learned a lot in Minnesota, but until you've seen that as a Colts fan, you now come in and the first thing your GM opens up with is sometimes it has to get a lot worse before it gets better. You're like, wait, this isn't bad? Like, we had Peyton Manning here years ago. Like, we were competing. We were in this thing all the time. Then Peyton Manning leaves. We get Andrew Luck. And next thing you know, we're back in the AFC Championship. We're competing. And now all of a sudden, we got to get worse. We got to go down again before we come back up. So I just think in the offseason, it's the time where for most teams, there's an excitement. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to be better. And like for the Colts, when I heard that, I was just like, oh, damn, like that doesn't sound good. Like, I think both guys will help us, but like it just felt like a little bit of, hey, like we know this isn't ideal. Best case scenario, this guy that we drafted early becomes a good player. But like what we're really expecting is this kind of go back and forth and whatever happens, happens. But we know this kind of isn't our year. And if it doesn't work out, hopefully, just hopefully we're in the mix to go get the guy that we really need at quarterback next year. And what are the chances? It'll be two teams competing to be at the bottom of the draft. If it ends up being the Giants and the Colts, all looking to possibly get another Manning to lead their franchise, would be pretty funny when you think about it.
Well, there's already been some of that talk about teams tanking for Arch Manning, and I don't know how good Arch Manning is going to be, but at the end of the day, and nobody knows. He doesn't know, nobody knows. We won't know until he gets there. But if you agree with my belief that these teams aren't necessarily trying to win Super Bowls, they're trying to make money, you're going to make a hell of a lot more money if if you got a quarterback whose last name is
Yep.
Manning. In the short term. We'll figure out whether or not he can play later. But in the short term, if you get the next generation of Mannings on your team, you can start making the plans for your next 450-foot super yacht, because it's going to pay for itself once Arch Manning is the quarterback of your team. So as you were going down there, I'm thinking, oh no, the Colts could be really bad this year, and man, that would be really good for the Indianapolis Colts. Or it would be something if it's Colts Giants in the tug of war, both trying to lose games late in the year. Oh, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, we don't talk about Tank Club. First rule of Tank Club is don't talk about Tank Club. I'll talk about it. Hey, look at where the Patriots would be. They'd have Travis Hunter, but for that Week 18 win over a Bills team that did not want to win that game because they didn't want the Patriots to have the first overall pick. I believe that. That's my opinion, but there was also plenty of scuttlebutt. I mean, they started Mitch Trubisky and they yanked him from Mike White. What, they protected Mitch Trubisky for the playoffs? They lost that game. Patriots would have had their pick. They would have had their pick. And now they're at number 4. Yeah, it's real. It's real. And as the draft gets closer and closer, and you see what those picks are worth and how much one guy can change a team's fortunes financially and competitively, yes, there is reason for a Week 18 game. We were 4-13 instead of 3-14. Who gives a shit about that? And there's going to be that feeling, and it's going to be, I think, something that we pay more attention to than we have in recent years when the end of the season rolls around. Because the loser, the ultimate loser, the guy who gets to pick the prom date, keep losing those games. Keep losing those games. Can nudge Aaron Jones aside, and you can get the most desirable prom date for 2026.
I mean, and the Giants fall a little bit in that situation too, because they had a late game against the Colts where they were kind of right in the race to possibly number 1. And now you look at, if they're the number 1 pick in the draft right now, there's no conversation. They draft Cam Ward. Everybody moves on. So it's so interesting. But again, like we always say, for that regime who's now coaching that bad team at the end of the year, it doesn't benefit you losing because there's no guarantee you'll still be there. It happened for the Patriots. Gerard Mayo, he wins that game. Even if they lost that game, it wouldn't have mattered for him because the Patriots didn't keep him. So I think we say it all the time. If I'm the head coach of that team, I don't really care unless the owner comes down and puts a new guarantee in my contract of paying me X amount of money. That's not going to matter to me because I don't know if I'm going to be here to live in the hype and the energy and the excitement of having the number 1 pick or the number 2, whatever it is. I don't know if I'm going to be here to enjoy it. So I'm not going to care about it. And again, that's always the issue between the situation between the owner and the head coach.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.